What is probably going to aid this is a decision by State Bank of India, and we'll get that conversation going up next, because while NBFC stocks by and large have been hitting fresh 52-week lows, a number of them, State Bank of India is probably jumping to the rescue. The country's largest lender will increase planned purchase of portfolios from non-banking financial companies. NBFCs often sell down a part of their loan portfolios after holding them for a stipulated period. Banks, in turn, buy these portfolios to show growth or to meet priority sector lending requirements. This time, SBI's purchase would ease liquidity constraints for some of the non-bank lenders as well at a time of rising rates and very tight liquidity. To talk about what's prompted SBI to take on this step, let's welcome in Managing Director Dinesh Khara, who joins us on the phone line. Mr. Khara, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Is this an opportunity, or does it serve two purposes? One, it helps SBI get portfolios at great rates, and two, helps the NBFC space get some much needed liquidity.
Thanks for giving an opportunity to me. And I would say that it's a consideration which we had in mind when it comes to all of us are required to meet the priority sector obligations, and when our balance sheet starts growing, it at times becomes difficult for us to get the quality priority sector assets from the market in the underwriting process. So I think I would say that this is an opportunity for us to meet the priority sector targets and also to get a quality book also. And at the same time, our credit deposit ratio as of now is around 66%. So there is adequate headroom which is available for us to ramp up our credit, and I think it comes quite handy. So it's actually a win-win for everybody, win-win for NBFCs, win-win for the bank also. I think it meets both the objectives.
Okay. Would this decision also have happened in part, Mr. Khara, because of the stress in the system too? I mean, one is the opportunity that it presents itself, but two is also the stress in the system and the liquidity space for the NBFCs. Is that also a part reason, or you've only looked at what it brings on the table for State Bank of India?
No, see, we were doing the portfolio purchase earlier also. But yes, of course, since the opportunity is available, we can ramp up our portfolio purchase. So I will look at it like this. And of course, it comes handy for the NBFCs also. And NBFCs are also keen to monetize their assets and take care of the liquidity requirements. So I think it works very well.
Sure, it does. Would this be the sum and substance of it? Because, I mean, just looking at the way comments are coming in for how much or how longer could the issue for NBFCs last, such rates would be available on these papers for maybe a slightly longer period of time than what people would have earlier envisaged. Would this be the extent of the additional purchases that SBI would do, or from time to time you could actually make such announcements or take such decisions as well?
Yeah, we can from time to time, depending upon our credit deposit ratios. We do spot such kind of opportunities, and we do pump in the liquidity into the system also.
Okay, one last question, Mr. Khara. Or maybe the last couple of questions. The portfolios of some of the NBFC paper, as the case may be, for lack of a better word, I'm using the term paper, might be available at a much better rate than others, naturally so. The ALM mismatch fears, if not actual ALM mismatches in certain cases, have also dropped down the rates for a lot of these. Have you kind of distinguished between what is it that SBI will go out and buy? Would it only buy the best quality paper available, even if the rates may be slightly better at some of the slightly lower rung portfolios or papers?
No, there is an evaluation process for the portfolios which we normally carry out before we take a decision in terms of what we will purchase, what we will not purchase. So it's generally quite an elaborate process which looks at the maturation of the portfolio, which also looks at what kind of portfolio is it really, the priority sector, and if it is SME, if it is if it is housing loan within the priority sector threshold. So there are various components in the evaluation process. We do look at that, and then apart from that, what will be the NBFC stake going forward? That will also be one of the consideration. Normally, we go for 10% stake of the NBFC also, continuing stake of NBFC, 90% we purchase. So, I mean, there are various modalities which we normally put in place before we decide in terms of the portfolio.
Okay. Mr. Khara, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being with us today and giving us your thoughts.